So one of the things that I get asked all the time is, Jordan, do you help with anxiety too? I hear you talk about depersonalization, realization all the time, but what about anxiety? Well, one of the reasons that I talk about depersonalization, realization is because I specialize in helping people who are not just in a state of anxiety, but in a state of traumatic stress. Okay. And there is a difference. It's a different branch of the nervous system, it's different experientially. And while I definitely do help with anxiety, I help with a symptom set that is a part of a nervous system state that is a lot more difficult to deal with than only a state of anxiety. I oftentimes tell my friends who are anxiety coaches, like, I envy you. It's not that helping people out of anxiety is not very, very, very difficult. Okay. I want to be very clear. I dealt with anxiety for over 15 years, and 99% of my clients are going through anxiety too. And even after we get them out of DPDR, a lot of times they're still anxious. We got to deal with that as well. But whenever you reach a state of traumatic stress, it is completely different, but not just different, more extreme in every single way than generalized anxiety. I don't want to try to minimize generalized anxiety and panic attacks. Again, I went through generalized anxiety for 15 years. Debilitating, will ruin your life, absolutely horrible symptoms. But once depersonalization realization shows up, that's your nervous system telling you, I am completely overwhelmed. Those symptoms don't happen due to anxiety. They happen due to traumatic stress, which happens at the point that your nervous system feels too overwhelmed to fight or flee. And it's at that point, whenever you reach a state of traumatic stress, that the trauma coping mechanisms of depersonalization realization deploy almost as like lifeboats in, let's say, the Titanic, even though they didn't have enough lifeboats, obviously. It's your brain trying to separate you. They're dissociative symptoms, okay, which comes from a Latin root word that means to sever or separate. It's your brain basically saying, hey, this ship's going down. Let's try to create as much distance. Let's create a buffer between them and their body, which is why you feel out of body, and then them in reality, which is why everything feels fake and dreamlike, and then them in themselves, which is why you feel like a stranger to yourself. So that way, if you're being eaten by a lion, you just don't feel it. And in the first phase of this, there is anxiety if your nervous system still feels like there's a fighting chance. But in the deepest state of traumatic stress, there's no anxiety at all. You just become completely numb. But here's the thing. I'm not just helping people get out of a state of anxiety. I'm helping people get out of a state of traumatic stress. But even once we do that, there's still usually some anxiety there, even once we've calmed your nervous system a lot. And then I help people out of general anxiety until they're fully calm.